No, yeah, I'm Barbara Scully, and I have created a podcast that is dedicated to family and consumer sciences professionals. So that goes from being secondary education to higher ed, extension, and truly professionals who are out working within the communities that involve family, community, and careers. So I put together mini presentations because I didn't really know what to expect. So I'm just going to share my screen and take it away. So FCS Professional Connections, and I teach high school. So I am a secondary educator. Yeah, I teach interior design, financial literacy, and this year. And then on top of that, previous years, I've taught foods and nutrition 1, financial literacy, tech literacy, exploring childhood, human development, teaching academy. So I've taught a lot, family health, and maybe a smattering of a few others. But I love technology. So this is, I think, this quote from Arthur C. Clarke. It really resonated a lot with me at the very beginning of COVID, and it has stuck. Any sufficiently advanced technologies is indistinguishable from magic. So thank you to Zoom that I'm able to be here with you guys. So my vision, so PD casting, and if you guys have phones, I'll drop this in the chat as well. But if you have phones, you can answer that QR code, but I just dropped it in the chat. My vision, it is to engage with other educators and community members to promote a diverse and content-rich and accessible resource available for free on multiple media platforms for family and consumer sciences educators, students, family, and community. So I am going to pull up my result here. And again, I love technology and how we're able to do this. So okay. So there were 2 slides with that. And one, is it important for you to be a part of a FCS organization? And I love it. 5 of you say yes. And here I'll just drag it over. So hopefully you guys can see that. And then the second was, if you had the option to gain knowledge for your content using the following technology platforms, which would be more preferable? Blogs, YouTube, podcasts, online courses, webinars, or other. So using your choice. Oh, podcast, thank you. Online courses, other. I'm curious to know what that other is. Besides in person, we're talking about technology. I'm curious to know that. So I just, me personally, I just submitted my application to Texas Tech University to doctoral school. And my my research is going to be all about technology and instruction and teacher efficacy. So how technology is improving or possibly bringing us down when it comes to our teaching efficacy through podcasts, webinars, and professional development. So I'm excited to possibly dive a little deeper into all this information. So I'm going to close that out. So thank you so much for doing my fun little Mentimeter, because I'm able to take that and if I get accepted into doctoral school, I will be able to use these results in the future. So thank you very much. You're helping my research out already. So my next, yes, I do. This is my way of doing interactive type stuff. So I'm going to drop this next link in the chat. And how do you maintain your professional connections? So Control C, chat. Oh, I like this. So Instagram, I've been getting a lot of ideas for teachers on Instagram. Oh, that's great. I like that idea. I get a lot of great ideas off of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all sorts of stuff. So how do you maintain your professional connections? And there are, I believe, 5 or 6 questions on that Padlet. Let's see. And question 1 is, why did you choose family and consumer sciences education as your career? Let's see, 4-H, the involvement in 4-H led me to FCS education. And who was your FCS inspiration? Meta Van Nostrand, Lorain County, FCS 4-H ladies. That's great. And my third question is, how many professional organizations or affiliations are you a member of? Let's see, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm 4 or 5, me personally. Yeah, some of you are stating 3, I think 3, 2. Oh, your FCS inspiration was Dr. Arms. 4. This is great. And so that is the Padlet that you guys are working off of. Thank you so much. This is fantastic. I love getting real data because this information, this is what drives us. With doing a podcast, I am talking with people throughout the nation who are, yes, in higher ed, in middle school, high school. I'm talking with people at Extension, and I'm trying to bring in those professional voices that support our content. So when it comes to foods and nutrition or culinary, I'm wanting to bring on chefs and talk about what is happening in the hospitality and tourism chapters, because, the businesses, because what's happening right now for them is going to greatly impact our students and in the future. So that's the whole purpose of our advisory boards. So bringing that relevant information back to the classroom is so important. Let's see. So as you guys are working on that Padlet, I am going to go in and say, so why join? So the purpose of organizations is to promote family and consumer sciences, advocate for families and individuals to interface with family and consumer sciences professionals and students. University members often attend AAFCS district, state, and national meetings, along with FCCLA meetings at the state level, and serve as judges for STAR events. Our student members may apply for scholarships on a state and national level. So as a member of any FCS CTSO, there are unique opportunities to engage in following events. That is develop a sense of community, peer support from other human sciences students, participate in field trips and community outreach programs, engage in professional development with current employers and professionals, attend conferences with opportunities to present, such as what I'm doing, and mentor high school students through FCCLA and classroom observations. Those are all of the reasons why we desperately need to recruit people to join our organizations and affiliations. I know, so just this last weekend, we had our own, so very similar to OAFCS, we have, it's called OAFCS, and I'm on that executive board. And we're looking at our membership rate, and we've drastically dropped 40% within our memberships. Why is that? Is it because the people are feeling disengaged? They don't feel like they're a part of an association? Has anybody reached out to them and personally invited them to join? What is the cause of that? Or is it just the fact that districts haven't put in their purchase orders to re-up those memberships? Who knows? So that is really a fascinating question that we're all, I think you guys as well, we're all having to kind of take a step back and reflect on. And this is the reason why we need to promote. It is that professional networking. It is that continued education. It's that service to our profession, and then input on the future of growth and development within our profession. Because if we don't stay relevant, our program goes away. So it's so important. Which then leads me to why my podcast, I think, is becoming as successful as it is, because it's micro learning. It is my podcast is information, but also with a personal twist. I'm a very relational individual. I love having engagement, such as through Padlet or through the Mentimeter. I'm able to engage with you in a different way versus if I was able to do something face to face. I would still be doing something like this because we can't all go around the room. That just takes up a lot of time, and I'm able to reach out to you in a more personalized way. My podcast, it is personal. I want you to feel as if you're sitting at the table with me asking these questions, being that fly on the wall, just listening. Podcasts are convenient and easy to consume. So from my first season, when I launched last year for the first time, I am now, they were too long. So I've been learning throughout this process because I am not a communications specialist. This has been a learn as you go. And so through that, my podcasts have been like maybe an hour to an hour, 15 minutes to now I've really dwindled it down to 30 to 45 minutes at most. Podcasts cut costs. So I think, yes, Marie says, I think it's Costco membership and to attend conferences. Okay, I agree with Marie's comment, along with challenges of teaching and parenting time constraints. Yeah, it cuts down on time. If you're not able to attend a conference, you're still able to get relevant professional development this way. My podcasting is time efficient. It's a time efficient form of communication. Sometimes I don't want to watch TV. Sometimes I do want to listen to a podcast and gain some new insights. So I'm able to do that while folding laundry. I'm able to do things. I'm able to listen to them in the car. My husband is a huge podcast listener. Not mine, because they don't pertain to his, and he could have a conversation with me anytime though. Podcasts are also portable. You're able to listen on the go wherever you want to be. And at least my podcast and many, many others, because there's millions of podcasts for any subject area that you want to listen to. If you are into murder mystery, then there is a podcast out there for you. But for my personal podcast, it is professional learning communities. It's where I'm reaching out to the experts, and maybe you're a first-year teacher. I want you on the podcast because you have a completely different lens of which you started student teaching during COVID. You haven't seen your students' face fully without a mask. So yeah, these things are so important. If we are only looking at things from our one perspective, then how can we benefit everybody's instruction? So that's the purpose of it. It is to network and to create that family within family and consumer sciences. This is something that I value so much. The most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. And I think if we're not growing and learning from one another, then we become stagnant. So these are just a few of the wonderful faces that have been guests on my podcast. From, I've had the Tech Twins, who they're from Kansas State, Kansas City, Kansas, I believe, and Dr. Jan Bowers of SUNY Juanita, the Grant Partnership, to a comedian. We have a family and consumer sciences comedian. Did you know that? Her name is Leslie Robb, and she's hilarious. If you can, please reach out to her. She's on Twitter, all over Facebook and Instagram. So Leslie said, what? So she's a hoot. That we've had FCCLA, your very own Miss Elena Tharp, and oh gosh, well, you just see all of them. I've had aired over 88 episodes. Last week was episode 89, and that was the conclusion of the national partnership of recruiting, preparing, and supporting family and consumer sciences, and being released tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. your time, is going to be Dr. Dave, who is Utah State Extension Specialist, where his focus is positivity. And so I'm really excited to have him on for you guys to listen in on that conversation. So tune in for that one. And finally, let's collaborate. So you guys, that's my QR code. I will drop it into the chat, and let's see, let me pull up my, there we go. Yeah, so there is my Calendly. I would love to have any one of you to come on to the podcast, and let's talk. Let's talk about what's going on in your classes. Let's talk about what's going on out in the world, because we are a global society, and it's important that we network and we communicate what is happening in our communities, because like what Kimberly and I were talking about yesterday on the phone, I was talking to her about our membership rates. You guys have experienced that same thing. So if I'm experiencing it as well as you guys are experiencing it, it must mean that this isn't just a one organization, association, affiliation situation. This is much bigger and larger than that. So I would love for you to join me for an episode. And honestly, we just talk about we come up with 4 or 5 discussion questions, and we go from there. and we just have some fun. That's all it is. Finally, my contacts. So these are all my social media handles. So you find me on Twitter, Connect FCS Ed, Instagram, Facebook. I'm now on TikTok and I post those fun little videos on my Facebook and Instagram that way. YouTube, I'm trying to get better with YouTube. I'm not as efficient with it. And LinkedIn, of course. So that is what I have. And of course, you could email me at barbara@connectfcsed.com and my website, the connectfcsed.com. So that's what I got.